What I'm saying is, and this is not a come on in any way, shape, or form, is that men and women can't be friends because the sex part always gets in the way.
That's not true.
You're probably familiar with the concept of on-screen friends morphing into a couple. It feels fairly inconsequential as far as tropes go, but its increasing overuse has turned into a bit of a problem. This trope is certainly not a disliked one. In fact, several sites have listed it in their top 10 romance tropes, including Masterclass and a poll on Goodreads. A site called Fansplaining even created a poll that discovered friends to lovers was the most beloved romance trope of their users. The existence of this trope is not a huge problem. The issue arises when it's rare to see this trope not being used, when it's difficult to find on-screen friendships between a man and woman that don't hint at the possibility of something more. It gives viewers this kind of perspective.
If you ever have two characters who are friends, co-workers, and share great chemistry, you can bet they won't be friends for long.
The constant use of this trope is telling us, incorrectly, that male-female friendships are nothing more than gateways to romantic relationships.
There's nothing to stop any one of us from looking at any of the others as a sexual prospect.
In reality, these friendships can be significant, real, and purely platonic. I'll discuss the importance of those friendships later, though. Another issue here is that guys are being told by TV and movies that their female friends must view them in a romantic or sexual way, that they won't
be friends for long.
You can see the effect of this when you look at article headlines like these or interviews like these.
We remain your friends in hopes that one day there'll be a crack in the door, a chink in the armor, and trust and believe that guy that you think is just your buddy, he will slide in that crack the moment he gets the opportunity.
With men already generally much more attracted to female friends than vice versa, according to Scientific American, this message isn't ideal. Of course, there's an exception to this rule. Since the whole trope is built around the heteronormative idea that a man and a woman just have to be attracted to each other, writers have found a handy way of getting around it. No, it's not realizing that a guy and girl can be friends, it's through employing the gay best friend trope.
This is Damien. He's almost too gay to function.
Apart from the overall issues with this trope.
Why are you talking like that?
Talking like what?
Like an offensive version of a gay guy.
It's also a big issue in this particular context since it's pushing this narrative that the only way a guy and girl could be friends is if one of them was gay. But don't get me wrong, this trope isn't inherently an issue. Many TV couples mature naturally from a friendship with a bit of sexual tension to a full-on romantic relationship. That progression is how many relationships happen, so it makes sense that that's portrayed on screen. Cross-sex friendships are not only just as beneficial as what some would call normal friendships, they often offer different benefits. In this video, participants were asked what benefits they found from their cross-sex friendships. Answers included these.
I really,
We've had
don't
these conversations.
know what's going through dudes' brains, and I feel like, Alex, what does this weird thing mean?
In my female relationships, I can be emotional, and they get it.
What shows and movies need are more representation of these kinds of friendships, and to emphasize how important they are.
Boyfriends and girlfriends are gonna come and go, but this is for life.
And yes, these friendships do exist in plenty of shows and movies.
Why didn't you leave?
Because you asked me to stay and you said we were friends.
But right now they are usually smaller subplots. Although it's a small, subconscious expectation, people expect reality to reflect TV. And people's takeaway should not be that male-female friendships are impossible, it should be that those friendships are very important. Another very important thing is that if you liked this video, you like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if you have any ideas for future videos, anything like that. Thanks for watching, thanks for making it all the way through my generic end of video spiel, and I'll see you next time.